Meanwhile, in New York City, mayoral frontrunner Zohran Mamdani lead is growing among likely and registered voters, according to Fox News polls. 52% of likely voters backing Mamdani, with independent candidate Andrew Cuomo trailing behind at 28%. GOP candidate Curtis Sliwa polling at just 14% before the candidates met to debate their policies last night.
And there'll be another debate, but last night was a big one. Mamdani faced a lot of pushback on how he plans to pay for his costly agenda that includes rent control, universal child care, and free and fast buses.
Tell New Yorkers tonight how you're going to pay for all of this in 1 minute, if you can.
Look, a lot of people have called even my campaign a non-starter when we first began. And now I stand before you proud to be the Democratic nominee who got the most votes in city primary history. And I believe we will see the same thing with our push to ensure that we are taxing the wealthiest and the most profitable corporations the fair amount that they should pay.
But again, Mr. Mamdani, I know Governor Hochul indicated this week there may be some open windows, but more or less income tax on millionaires is off the table, according to the governor.
Look, I've said very clearly, making buses fast and free costs about $700 million a year. Making universal child care a reality costs about $5 or $6 billion a year. If you raise the state's top corporate tax rate to match that of New Jersey, you'd be raising $5 billion in and of itself.
Well, Zohran, boy, your fantasies are never going to come about in terms of funding everything you want that's going to be free, free, free. It's a fantasy. Let's deal with the reality.
The Assemblyman's whole plan is based on a myth. He said he's going to raise the taxes the same as New Jersey, corporate tax. No, it would be double the tax. You would see New Yorkers on I-95 fleeing to Florida.
Governor Cuomo is 100% right, but I digress. And just over the bridge in New Jersey, Republican Jack Ciattarelli is closing the gap on Democrat Mikey Sherrill. According to a Fox News poll, get this, Ciattarelli is now trailing by only 5 points among likely voters after trailing by 8 points last month.
Sherrill, on the other hand, losing points on honesty and trust among registered voters, dropping 4 points since September. Ciattarelli losing just 1 point in that category.
All right, so we have a lot to go over now. Let's begin, of course, let's go in New York City. So in New York City, Mamdani needed a knockout. Cuomo needed a knockout.
Yeah, showing that.
And basically, they say he didn't answer any questions, Mamdani. And look, he was smooth, but he didn't really come to define any policies. And I thought Governor Cuomo spent a lot of time explaining, what's about the accusations? What about the COVID deaths? What about the advance you got on your book? So when you're explaining your own background, it doesn't really work. The best, most clearest guy is Curtis Sliwa. He's just trailing by way too much.
Well, it was really the top two individuals in this race are Mamdani and Cuomo. So the gloves really came off between those two. And Mamdani said he would not denounce globalize the Intifada and said he was horrified by the genocide of the Palestinians. And remember on Martha's show, he said, I really don't have an opinion on whether or not Hamas should put down their weapons. When he was asked about that, he said, of course, I believe they should lay down their arms.
Yeah, how do you do that 2 days later? I mean, that's how you know you can't trust anything that he said. He was given an opportunity in a show to just condemn Hamas and go after it. And then 2 days later, he all of a sudden gets an answer for it.
And he said that Israel shouldn't be a Jewish state.
Right.
He said that in the past.
But do you understand? That's how we feel. But do you know the next generation of Americans, even Republicans, are not pro-Israel? Oh. So he's worried about, doing the thing that would help him with mainstream. But he didn't get a bulk of mainstream. He got new voters. So how do you not alienate them? Plus, he probably agrees with them.
Right.
And go ahead and try to win the general population.
Well, in a Fox News poll, voters were asked, what's the #1 problem facing New York City? And the most said crime, 25%. 20% said the cost of living. 16% lack of affordable housing. And 8% homelessness and mental health.
I would just add to this, when you say crime is the #1 thing, it comes, how does Mamdani want to handle crime? He has not agreed to renew Jessica Tisch, who's done an unbelievable job here.
He says he's not ready to make a decision.
That would be the biggest layup. And he's got this this must drive you crazy. Mm-hmm. The Civilian Complaint Review Board. No, he can't explain what it's going to do, but his board will decide how cops will be punished
Right.
or not punished, fined or fired. And you never take that away from the commission.
How is that going to work out? This is the shocking part when it comes to the people and the candidates that they trust for the best job on cost of living. Mamdani gets it by 49%. Sliwa's at 17%. Cuomo's at 32%. On housing, 49% is for Mamdani, 16% for Sliwa, 33% for Cuomo. And Ainsley, when it comes to taxes.
Yeah, Mamdani's winning. Look at that. He gets
That's crazy.
47%
By raising
on
them?
taxes. And then crime, he gets the most with 40%. They trust him the most. He'll do the better job, they say.
How crazy is that? That a guy that wants to let criminals out, close Rikers Island,
Send
have
social
workers to domestic disputes, and he gets the best marks on crime.
I'm not a New Yorker, so maybe
You
I don't-
live in New
I-
York.
I don't,
You pay
I don't
taxes
understand.
here.
I don't understand the connection. Maybe there's just a different. I get the housing thing because he's talking about affordability and all of this, but the crime thing, saying that you're going to defund the police, I don't understand how that's good.
But here's the problem with housing, Lawrence. Your bills are, you're going to make less money.
100%.
Your taxes will go
100%.
up. So when it comes to your housing, you're going to have to skimp in
Pay
other
for it.
areas. Yeah.
So here is a look at how the candidates tackled crime.
We have the architect and we have the apprentice of no cash bail, which has been a disaster. We have the architect and the apprentice here of raise the age. My own son was almost killed because of that in a gang attack. We have the architect and we have the apprentice of close Rikers Island, which would just release criminals in the street. Thank God I'm not a professional politician, because they have helped create this crime crisis in the city that we face.
I would add 5,000 police, put 1,500 in the subways, raise the starting salary because you can't hire them. Part of that is going to be saying to the NYPD, I respect you. I don't think you're wicked, as the Assemblyman said. I don't think you're corrupt. I don't think you're racist. I value you. I will have your back. I'll be a mayor to work with you.
If you want an actual approach to lower crime, look at our Department of Community Safety. That is something that has been hailed by experts as addressing so many of the pieces of why New Yorkers are not feeling safe today. We will ensure that no longer are police officers asked to do the job of both policing and responding to the mental health crisis. This is evidence-based. It's been successful elsewhere in the country. It's time we deliver it right here in New York City.
He's delusional. You're going to have mental health experts, counselors, social workers show up to the most dangerous call a cop can get, which is a domestic violence call. So you're going to have people that didn't sign up for that profession have violent attacks against them. That is the most. What, you're going to put bulletproof vests on them as they're going out there to talk with these candidates? It's crazy.
My daughter's calling.
So I just to add to this, one of the other categories is how you're going to deal with President Trump. And Governor Cuomo says, look, I've had fights with Trump, before, but I have to work with him. Sliwa says, I don't have a great relationship with President Trump, but I'm going to work with him. I think that Mamdani is going to be Pritzker 2.0. It's everything. He's pro-sanctuary city. He's pro-illegal immigrants. There is going to be, and we know they use the National Guard in the subways to make us feel better, thousands of them. So when President Trump, if he wins, and when President Trump goes to crack down on crime, because this guy's going to let open the floodgates to Rikers and not arrest anybody, there's going to be solid friction. And as Cuomo says, are you an idiot? How can you possibly fight with a guy that has billions of dollars in his coffers to give you or not give you? You have to work with him.
I just can't believe these polls. I can't believe so many people in New York are falling for this guy based on his policies. But I guess they hear in an area, New York's expensive. And I guess they hear, oh, this guy's going to lower my costs. But every politician has said he should have done that when he was an assemblyman. He had the ability to do all of these things. But we had Eric Adams on our couch, and he said, trust me, I'm the mayor. He doesn't have the ability to change all of these policies.
By the way, so if he wants to get those horrible rich people. So if you make $1 million, do you know how many hours you're probably working? Mm-hmm. Does he ever think about hard work and how that relates? Number two, do you want to take now, if you do the over 50%, so if you figure in city tax, state tax, federal tax, so if you make $1 million, now you have to give away $540,000. Yeah. So you're working 60 hours a week doing the best you can to get to that threshold, and now he's trying to say, how dare you, I'm going to give that to other people. Right? That's just not the way our country works.
Not capitalism.
I hope not.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.